Howdy, y'all. My name is Corey. Welcome back to the Unfinished Business Podcast. I'm going to be your host because, unfortunately, Taylor couldn't make it. Just kidding. He's right there, along with Tyler and Matthew.
Hi-yo.
And today's going to be a fun one because we're not doing the normal stuff. We're going to do a little bit of it. We're going to do some picks for Worlds. We're going to do a trivia at the very end. But more importantly, we're doing some really cool things with next year's list of locations and tournaments, I guess you could say. I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling at this current moment because there's so many things going on in my brain. Basically, a couple weeks ago, Tyler decided that he wanted to redo the schedule for the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And this was just us being, nerds when it comes to disc golf.
Geeks.
I jumped on that and I said, hey, I really want to do this too. So we made separate schedules, but we kind of pitched each other some ideas here and there. And this is basically our version of what the schedule could be if we had an angel investor with unlimited money. So this isn't, hey, we can't do that because there's not a course there. Or, hey, we can't do that because we can't close this specific park in this giant city. It has nothing to do with that because we have all the money in the world. That being said, we're going to do some picks first.
Yeah, hit it.
Yeah, here we go.
And by doing picks first, we already did pick because we weren't going to do that to you guys. We were going to just show you who we picked. And
yeah, I will go ahead and say we did picks this morning as the podcast was tonight, and we did not want to do picks after a round had already been completed because that's kind of cheating.
There it is.
So we got the list on the screen. Corey has got Gannon Burr, Nicholas Antala, Anthony Barella, and Drew Gibson. I will say I kind of forgot Nicholas Antala existed when you picked him. So oh yeah, that's probably a solid pick. Tyler has got Ricky, Aaron Gossage, Joey Buckets, and Brody Smith. Matt has got the Robinson brothers, who he likes to call the Mennonite brothers, and Kyle Klein with Casey White as his dark horse. I've got Chris Dickerson, Paul McBeth, Calvin Heimberg, and Luke Humphreys. This could go good and or bad for me if Luke does well. And I also want to point out that Chris Dickerson and Aaron Gossage were both gone before Corey could pick a second player, so that makes me kind of sad for him.
Yeah. I had to do it to him, dude. I've been watching too much Aaron Gossage on the YouTube, and I was like, this dude's pretty good. So yeah. I'm hoping he cranks it up at Ivy Hill. That's what I need now.
Yeah. The one other important thing you can see is no one picked Simon Lizotte.
Yeah.
Don't know why. We kind of just overlooked him. I was a little frustrated because both of my boys were picked, so I was kind of scrambling to get anybody, and I guess I didn't scroll down to the S's, so.
Got a good pickup with a third pick, Anthony Barella, though. I mean,
yeah, that is true. That is a really good pickup. The crazy thing about it is I'm pretty sure multiple of us, I know I put Simon Lizotte as my winner for Worlds, and I didn't even pick him.
Interesting strategy.
Interesting strategy. Now, I will say we have the luxury of tonight already seeing round one. Fellas, how are we feeling about our picks? Looking in one round in.
I feel good. Ricky didn't kick himself out of the tournament. Gossage is a little out of it. And then Joey Buckets popped off just like I thought he would. My goal was to find guys that throw laser beam 450 in different ways and that can do that in New London and hit the gaps at Ivy Hills. So that's what I chose.
Yeah. In classic AB fashion, we don't hear about him for a couple events, and then he just pops an 11 down. So Corey's got to be feeling pretty good about that, I feel like. Or just
no clue. I didn't watch any of it.
I just looked at the round. I didn't get a chance to watch, but I mean, he's currently leading or tied for the tournament with Isaac Robinson. The only one who does not have a player in the top 3 is currently Taylor here. But
yeah, I'm genuinely not worried about Chris or Paul. I will say Calvin, if he can make putts, I have a lot of faith in, and he did not putt well today. His putt did not look great. So
the one hole he got a bogey on, what was it, hole 11? Oh my gosh. Totally bad.
Yeah.
I do want to also make a comment that no one took Matty-O, and Matty-O has finished 3rd in the last 2 Worlds. Kind of surprised by that as well.
Oh, it's true.
For some reason, I don't see him doing well at Ivy. I don't know why.
I don't particularly either. I think I agree with you, Corey. I can't put a finger on why, but I just don't. In my head, I thought about Ivy and I said, I don't really like him there.
I've seen Matteo in person at the very open golf course where I live. The dude shredded it. So, I don't know. I thought about taking Matteo as my last pick.
He doesn't seem as course dependent to me as a lot of other players. Like I feel like Mattio's got a pretty well-rounded.
Yeah. I haven't taken him just because he hasn't. I've been trying to find somebody who's playing well and who can throw really laser straight. So that's why I went with the Joey Buckets. He is the Heiser flip master, is what it seems like.
Definitely so.
Who is the one guy that you think is going to win Worlds at this point in time?
Chris Dickerson.
Confident Chris Dickerson there. I think I gotta say Isaac still. I mean, if you listen to Tour Life last night with Isaac's interview, Buddy sounds like the cockiest Mennonite I've ever met in my entire life.
Well, Gannon even said like, "Oh, Isaac's gonna win Worlds," and I was like, "Whoa!"
Gannon's gassing him up, and then Isaac's like, "Yeah, man, I am. I'm gonna win Worlds," and I'm like, oh, "Gosh, dang, okay." Yeah. So Isaac's got to be it for me.
Yeah. Isaac was gonna be my pick. He just seemed very, very locked in today, and also like was getting good breaks, but like not good breaks that he needed to get, or like it was a good break on a bad shot. He was just getting kind of the extra little world champ love, like back right in the middle of the fairway, little redirects and stuff like that. And if that keeps happening, like that'll propel him to at least like top 3.
This is who I've got. This is what I imagine. I thought about this afternoon. Paul Macbeth is like Mr. Miyagi on the sidelines, and when what's his name? Daniel LaRusso, right? When Daniel LaRusso is screaming, "We did it, Mr. Miyagi, we did it." I imagine that's AB winning Worlds, and he's looking at Paul saying, "I did it." So
as long as Paul
Mr.
doesn't
Miyagi
caddy
is
for
Paul.
him at the end of the tournament.
Yeah, that is his dangerous situation.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
I think Trevor's supposed to caddy for him one of the final rounds, one of the last 2 rounds or so. So
that is made
as
up.
As long as Trevor keeps his mouth shut. I mean, I don't know what he would say to him, AB, to freak him out that much, but maybe AB just needs dead silence.
Remember last time you threw a hole 16?
Yeah.
So
that's the
not to
situation
alarm anybody, but the last time
up.
you were in the lead at a major at hole 16, it did not go well.
Don't know if you remember or not. Yeah, no, it's interesting to we picked, and then like 3 hours later we had some results from our picks.
Yeah.
So
Instant feedback.
It was kind of weird. Yeah, really.
All right, so moving on, we're going to go to some, I would say, convenient news that we got from the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Last week, they hit us with some information about next year. And I think some would say coincidence. Some would say they've been listening to this podcast and how much we talk crap about their schedule. So, Taylor, what were they saying?
Yeah, so just the most notable changes for the 2025 schedule in general. The number of elite events was reduced from 22 to 19, creating more off weeks. I think that's something that a lot of players have been looking for the past few years. The Texas Swing is now just 2 events. Personally, I can say hallelujah. I do not want to be in Texas for an entire month of the tour, so pumped about that one. Some notable events that are not on the schedule for next year are Dynamic Disc Open, Jonesboro Open, and the Swedish Open. It sounds like all of them are expected and potential to return for 2026. I've just heard a few rumors. I heard that Jonesboro was having some issues with the land for the courses, that they wanted to use some of the land for something else. You know, they did just finish a second course there that I think they were hoping they were going to be an Elite Plus event the next time they were on tour. I also heard that DDO may just be wanting to kind of take a year off and recoup with Champions Landing being built, kind of make sure it's finished before they put it on tour. But I also saw that Eric McKay was pretty excited just to have DDO/Glassblown Open return to kind of what made Emporia special in disc golf and just be a big like amateur huge community event. So I think that has the potential to be kind of beneficial for both parties. Other changes, the Portland Open and Beaver State Fling have been merged, so they're using both Milo and the Glendoveer courses, which I think is super sick. I know they were saying that that's going to be probably a preview for a future Worlds bid on those courses. And finally, the Tour Championship has moved from Charlotte to Lynchburg. I was initially really pumped about this, and again, after watching round 1 at New London today, I think that it looked really good on coverage, but also we have since got the news via Paul that New London may not exist in its current form when this rolls around. So I think a little bit extra to think about on that one.
I also want to add that I listened to Jeff Spring's interview on Staggered Stance. Did anyone else listen to that by chance?
No.
Okay. He talked about how, like why they're rotating the different places as well, is because he doesn't want to burn those places out at this point in time with the, what do we just have, our 7th or 8th season this year. So he said like GMC is going to be rotated out here in the near future. He said the 2026 schedule is hoping to be out early in 2025. So they're really thinking ahead. What he said is we want to go to places that have large populations, but we want to be able to give those places 18 months to 2 years in advance to raise money and prepare for us to come. So the one thing I will also say is, well, maybe I'll save it for when we do the scheduling. But anyways, that's generally what Jeff had to say. I was encouraged by what he had to say. He said some other things regarding the schedule and different courses and everything. So it sounds like they're looking to rotate stuff out, which I'm excited about, because what he said was we want the fan experience to be max. So it sounds like they also got rid of some courses where they weren't getting a lot of fans at. So all right, that's my little update.
Oh yeah, I think that highlights DDO in my mind was just like barren the past couple of years. Like, yeah, it needs some time. And I will say with that, Kansas City Wide Open is taking that spot, which I'm pumped about.
Exactly what Jeff Springs said. He said because of that, DDO had to go for a little bit. They also said the reason why they moved the Pro Tour Championship out of Charlotte is because they've got future plans for maybe a Pro Tour stop in Charlotte.
Okay. Okay.
We got the courses. We know
they
that
said,
personally.
They said they want to leave USDGC and all that help for that one weekend, but they're looking to maybe have a Charlotte stop earlier in the season, maybe in the future.
That'd be sick.
Okay. So, fellas, do we want to just jump right in?
There we go for it. Get right into it.
All right. Would you like to pull up my map, the one that's fully fledged?
Yep. Sorry.
With everything on it.
There she is.
Here we go, people.
All right.
Corey, can I ask you one question or maybe two beforehand?
No.
We'll do one then. That's fine.
Okay.
What metric are you using to say that an event
kilometers
should exist? You can use kilometers, that's fine. But what are you saying to say, hey, this event should exist? Like, what's the biggest thing in your mind when you're looking at this stuff?
So when we get through, you're going to see that some of these are pre-existing courses that we've played, pre-existing events. Other ones, not so much. I kind of just went with popularity, convenience, and is it gonna, I don't want to say stand the test of time, but kind of. Like, can it be added on? Can it be improved? And then, yeah. So first off, we're going to jump right into this. January 9th is the All-Star Weekend. And the reason it is in January is because we're going to Miami.
Turn up. Pitbull.
So, Taylor, would you like to pull up that little graphic I have for Miami? Now, when I'm thinking Miami, I'm thinking beach. I'm thinking awesome golf courses. I'm also thinking alligators, but not so much for like the All-Star Weekend because that would kind of be sketchy. But I think Miami is somewhere that people would like to travel to for an event like this, because usually this event is not, it's very static.
Yep.
It's very boring. No one really cares for it, but I feel like if it's on the beach or if it's on a really nice golf course with some nice hotels, people could fly in. We can make this an event like the European Festival. What are your guys' thoughts on Miami?
I love any change that makes the All-Star Weekend different than it already is.
Bro,
I would
I'm just saying,
say-
can you imagine Ricky Wysocki strutting around in Miami, bro? Put some Cuban links on that man. He's gonna just
Holy.
he's gonna be
What
just
if
vibing.
What if they did shirts versus skins?
Yeah.
Like that would be pretty funny. I'll come right out of the gate and kind of put a whole damper on the mood. I want to get rid of All-Star Weekend. Don't even want it. So
That's fine, but I do think also putting it in the beginning of January, you're actually going to get the All-Stars from the year prior, as opposed to, hey,
Right.
we're just going to pick like the whoever we think is going to be important. But just keeping All-Star Weekend around, I thought Miami would be such a good place, especially because I don't think Miami gets lower than like 75 degrees.
So my question is this: why so early right off the bat? Do we want to start the season?
Well, it's because my schedule is all year round.
Okay.
And I am
Pro Tour.
personally, I have a little quarrel with the professionals who say we need more breaks.
100%.
I'm tired.
Preach it.
Yeah, because guess what?
Come on.
I work 40
Come on.
plus hours a week. I don't want to hear that you can't disc golf every weekend because that's my dream.
And guess
So,
what? If
shove
it's too much for you, take a break. You don't have to
Yeah.
go play an event.
Yeah, I think that's like I definitely get the people that are not the top 1%, right? And are like Paul Macbeth or Simon and are making like 30 grand with no health insurance, playing disc golf 7 days a week, driving 8 hours a day for 4 of those days. Like I get it, but also I genuinely think the Pro Tour needs to be structured in a way where it does not punish taking a break. Where like right now, if you don't play an event and you're missing points towards the Pro Tour Championship, which is the largest paying event all year, you're just kind of screwing yourself. Like that part needs to be reimagined in my mind.
Yeah.
I agree. And then I also think like the metric of like people needing to cash or something like that. I think that exists less and less as those top 1%ers, like their contracts get crazy and then the rest of the field's contract gets just to be a livable, like easily livable amount, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that helps too.
And on top of that, I think the people that if you really do need the money, I think the Q series is going to come in handy for you. Most of the Q series for my map are the weeks that are like off weeks. And the reason there are off weeks is because of the amount of space it takes to travel from like one side of the country to the other. So that's where they can hopefully get some points, get some money, and kind of keep on keeping on. But from there, we're going to start February 13th is Florida Open. No graphic for that because we already know what it looks like. Olympus, probably. It's probably always going to be there. After that, we're going to go February 20th. We're going to create a place in New Orleans for the NOLA Invitational.
Yeah, baby.
And the NOLA Invitational does have a graphic because I've been to New Orleans. I don't know if you guys have been to New Orleans.
I love New Orleans. I have been there.
I love it for the partying, but I also
Yeah.
love it for how creepy it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because of the creepiness, because it's kind of tied into like voodoo and witchcraft and all of this stuff, I thought the fog would kind of help. But I also think this is a tournament that could really benefit from the types of trees that they have down there. There are a lot of like willows and like hanging creepy arm trees.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be a tournament that is going to really hold on to the fact that there will be mandos everywhere telling you can't throw over the trees. So it is a low line. You need to be able to throw your disc on a rope kind of course. How do you guys feel about doing a New Orleans tournament?
That was definitely one thing that Corey and I had kind of mentioned to each other as he was kind of asking me about some cities, and I have all my stuff here that we can talk about as we go. New Orleans was definitely on my list. I was like, yeah, we got to go to New Orleans. I think it's a cool spot. It's down in the South. I think we should totally do it. So I'm totally down for that.
Yeah, and I think when I was looking, so I looked at most of the tour events over the last couple of weeks. I didn't make a plan like Corey did, but my big thing was like, what's the population in that area? If we're going to the middle of nowhere, why does it matter? New Orleans has right around 400,000, not including the surrounding areas around it. That falls well within the middle of most of the tour stops, if not on the higher end of that metric. So it's perfectly happy with me. I love it.
It's a cool spot.
I think a good thing that does as well is you're talking about like trying to get fans or spectators at events like Miami, New Orleans, or places that like I could go, Tyler could go to his family and be like, hey, I want to go to this disc golf tournament that's in Emporia, Kansas, versus like, hey, we can take a family vacation in New Orleans and I'll go see disc golf and you guys can also have something that's fun and not be in Emporia, Kansas.
Great point. Also, Brixton just said the Mardi Gras Open. The Mardi Gras is like right after that.
Yeah.
Mardi Gras is like the first weekend in March, I think.
Well, sounds
Perfect
like we got a plan.
Perfect timing, dude. Party. Can you imagine the homeschool bros in North New Orleans during Mardi Gras? They wouldn't know what to do.
Living it up, man. Living it up.
Yeah. All right, so if you want to go back to the map.
All right.
What we're doing on the map is anytime that there's blue dots, you're going from a weekend to another weekend. Anytime that there are black dots, it is an off weekend because of the travel, whether it's distance or just timing. So from there, we're going to Texas, but on the way, we have our first Q Series in Baton Rouge, another city that is fairly large, but also it's not directly in between. It's closer to New Orleans, but it is on the way. So we're going to have a Q Series in Baton Rouge.
Hey, Taylor, real quick, can you put this graphic in Discord? I can see it better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Also, I have a question about what I'm assuming. Is this the Florida Open right here in Northwest Florida?
Yes.
Because that's in Tallahassee, and I would be very excited if it was in Tallahassee and not Jacksonville. I'm just throwing that out there.
When I looked up the last year's, that's where it said it was. So
yeah, they capping on you, but
my apologies about that.
Well, it probably was a Florida Open there, but the chess.com Invitational in Olympus is over here in Jacksonville.
Oh, okay, cool.
But
well, sorry, guys.
I'm just asking if I'm going to get to go to a tournament next year because it's in Tallahassee and it's like an hour for me.
You know what? We're going to move the Florida Open to the great city of Tallahassee.
Let's go.
The one and all, where T-Pain's from.
Yes,
so.
Tallahassee Pain.
So do you have a course in mind for your Baton Rouge Q Series? Or are you just, we'll figure something out there, it's a Q Series?
No, as of right now, like I said, we're going off of an angel investor that has millions upon millions of dollars. So we're going to be able to either take an existing course or just get property and completely overhaul. This also doesn't technically have to be next year, but the dates for next year are what I picked.
Yep.
So next up, I know my apologies for Taylor. He said he didn't want to be in Texas for a month, but we're going back to 3. But we're going to do it a little different. So the first one is March 6th, Texas States. That's normal. March 13th is Open at Austin. And then March 20th, Duel in Dallas. I think Dallas is a huge, huge city for something that we do not have a Pro Tour stop for. How do you guys feel about Dallas?
So I'll say this at this point, since you just split up, my first wave that I want to go to in the start of the season is Tampa, which is considered Brooksville, which is Olympus. So Tampa, New Orleans, Houston, and Dallas. That's my first wave right there. So I'm on the same page as you, except for Texas State's got it out of there, because my second wave is more focused on getting more exposure to the West Coast. So
Okay.
No, I agree that if we're having multiple events in Texas, Dallas needs to be hosting one of them. Like if you just look at the sheer amount of disc golf courses in and around Dallas, it will make you sad about where you, at least it does for me.
Yeah.
There's like multiple manufacturers based in Dallas. There's a lot of disc golf companies based in Dallas. Like it is a huge disc golf city that we are currently playing in.
right, and there's Dallas/Fort Worth, which is right there. So people forget that. Like Fort Worth is a huge city
almost
as
just
well.
as big, yeah.
So it's a big spot that we got to be hitting in Texas.
Also, if you just go up to any random person and ask, name 3 cities in Texas, it's Dallas, Austin, Houston.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
San Antonio should be there, but that's a whole nother story. Quick question. Which of these events are 3-rounders and 4-rounders? Or
good question. These are all going to be 4-rounders.
okay, me too.
Which is a Tyler specific request.
It is.
And then all of the majors are going to be 5-rounders.
Okay.
So not just Worlds, but every major is going to be a 5-rounder with a week before and after off for each one.
Okay. Another question. Are you just playing one course at all of these events, or are there going to be... Have you thought about that?
No, I haven't thought of that because of the fact that we're using angel investor money. So for all I know, we could have 4 separate courses that we play for one of the tournaments because it's a 4-day. So no, I haven't thought of that.
Okay. For me, what I've thought about is one course. That's it. Except when it comes to Worlds. Worlds will be 2 different courses. Everyone else will be one course, but we will change the baskets around into 4 different positions on that hole.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So that's what my schedule and that's what my that's what my design is for that I would want. So
So after March 20th, duel in Dallas, we are going to have another off week because we are driving pretty far. But in the meantime, 328. Oh, also the Q series are 3 days. So it's kind of like a 3-day, 4-day, 5-day. So March 28th, Phoenix. There is no specific reason why this is a Q series and not a full event. But it is on the way to Las Vegas, which is our next stop. And there's a specific thing that I want Las Vegas to do. And if you'd like to pull that up, Taylor.
Drum roll, please.
So there's a lot of cool things going on in the world, like Formula One and golf, and we need to pick up what they're putting down, which is nighttime disc golf.
Yeah, baby.
I think Las Vegas would be such a cool place to put up some lights and have a night tournament. We could even have certain lights be black lights, because I don't know if you've ever shined a black light on any kind of like Champ or Z plastic, but it glows.
Yeah.
It won't hold the glow, but it lights up. So that would be a really cool thing to see. And Las Vegas is always lit up. It's always alive at night. This would be such a good idea.
One thing I do want to say that I thought about last week was, when does it exactly get dark at that time to play at night? Do they start playing before sunset? Because you got to get FPO and MPO in the dark, which means
it is March.
Yeah, that
which
definitely
means that
helps.
it's very early.
okay.
It gets dark very early, even in Vegas.
Okay. Yeah, so Scott, I was thinking about like glow as well. I just think the lights, watching it under lights, watching spectators coming to watch in the dark, I don't think is going to be very good for spectating and also for production. So that's the only reason why I didn't say glow, or I don't think glow. I like the lights idea. And Corey, who else likes this idea?
Me. What are you talking about?
You told a pro on tour.
Oh, yeah. Ezra Aderhold really
Dude,
likes this idea. I totally forgot about that
I
conversation.
literally like alley-ooped LeBron, and LeBron just like kicked it off his knee.
Yeah, no, I totally forgot I had that conversation. That is something that Ezra really, really wants. I don't know if he can push it any more than we can, but I did mention that to him, and he thought it was
That would be really sick
an
with like
insanely good idea.
some big video boards too, though, and just like monitors in general around the venue would be like super sick.
I absolutely agree. That'd be sick.
Or maybe you could like start at like 6 p.m. that goes into the dark or something like that. I don't know.
Or just make it a 24-hour event, but like a rave
Oh
during the
my
and
gosh,
then Kevin Jones and
wow.
Paige Pierce
Yeah.
are just locked in.
Yes, that's true.
Also considering the fact that we're not caring about money, FPO and MPO could play at the same time because we have 2 courses.
Yeah, there you go.
We have enough
Hey,
money
maybe it'll
to
make
a
DGN Pro worth it. You can watch FPO and MPO at the same time. Broadcast.
Exactly.
Wow.
Like 3D vision. You're watching 2 people throw at the same time. All right, so another off week, but there is no Q Series because next up we've got Champions Cup. And Champions Cup is going to be specifically at a course in San Diego called The Ocean. And we've got a graphic for that.
Oh boy, do we ever.
So The Ocean is going to be a course that is, you guessed it, on the ocean. The most beautiful course you could ever think of. Insane throws, a lot of lost discs, but it's worth it. And this is going to be our first 5-day event.
Along the ocean?
Yeah.
They're going to be playing at Torrey Pines.
Yeah,
on
pretty
the
much.
ocean.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So, yeah, I got the idea from all of those awesome golf courses. I mean, there's even golf courses in Michigan that are lining Lake Michigan, and it's just gorgeous. So that's the idea. But I want Champions Cup to have a home that's not going to get taken from it. And I also, I know it's usually the wooded major, but we're going to change it because the ocean is going to be something that everyone is going to want to go to.
Wow.
How do you guys feel about that?
I love it.
I think it's really cool. I wouldn't do it, but I think it's actually a really cool idea. It'd be really cool to have like this style of open.
Why wouldn't you want to do it?
I like the wooded open. So I mean, I was thinking about what I changed the majors, and I don't know if I would have like I want a wooded major. I want a European major. Worlds, in my opinion, should flip from the United States to Europe every other year. And then the last has got to be like a US Open. So I was thinking more along the lines of like a US Open could be more of like the really random spot. It doesn't need to be at Winthrop every single year. I think Winthrop should be on a rotation. So this to me would be a US Open. Just like they do in ball golf.
I could kind of give that vibe too, because like you're gonna get destroyed by the out on a course like this,
it's gonna
like
be
just
so
obliterated.
Well, I don't think we have to worry about like naming schemes. Like Champions Cup can be the new like US Open style course.
It could be. Yeah, it totally could be. The other thing I'll also say is I think what I've been saying this season is aesthetics matter. And the reason why I say bringing that up is because a lot of people in their press conferences and on Instagram and on YouTube have said they love the rolling hills views at Ivy Hills, and that really attracts them. So I think having these aesthetic places to play, I think actually matter than it being like an historic good disc golf course. I think this matters. So I do like that you do have this. I think players would actually really like this.
Completely agree.
Yeah, definitely. Next up after that, we have our third Q series because we're going to be traveling up California, which is May 2nd, Los Angeles. Now, LA's huge. The disc golf scene there's not that many good courses out there. So it might be something that we would have to create. It might be a temp course. I don't know. But Los Angeles is going to be the beginning of May. Then from there, we're going to go to OTB Open, May 8th. Did I get that wrong? No,
What?
that's right.
You got OTB
The
open on
dates. No, the dates.
there.
So May 2nd is LA. May 8th, OTB Open. Nothing really special here. It's OTB Open. It's another course, kind of like a crappier version than Champions Cup after this, because it's the same kind of golf course style. But OTB Open is always fun. Then May 15th, Portland Open. I mean, for all we care, it could do the whole flip-flop thing. It could be the Beaverport Open or whatever, the fling. Then we are going to have a new one, which is Salt Lake Showdown, May 22nd. This is not a course. This is just a large city that gets us from the West Coast back towards the Midwest. And this one, do you guys have any ideas for Salt Lake? Because I don't really know. I'm not that familiar.
Ogden. Yeah, I
say,
mean,
how
where we
far
had
is
Worlds
that
is
from
pretty
the
cool.
fort?
We could call it this. I mean, this is what people do, though, is they name a tournament that's close to a city, but really it's like 20 to 30 miles
Yeah.
away from that city. Like the Atlanta Braves don't play in Atlanta. They play like 20 to 30 miles away. I mean, you know this, Taylor.
Yeah,
or maybe-
Ogden
yeah.
is very close to Salt Lake. I say put it in the fort, and I love that I
Yeah.
saw this on here. I obviously am biased because I'm on Team Infinite Disc, but like not having an event close to the largest retailer in disc golf is crazy to me, because they would put in so much money to that.
Yeah, I agree. Which is kind of interesting because when we first started going over cities, I think I said the Corey Salt Lake City, it was on my list. But when I finalized everything, it didn't make my list. Now, I think it should be on the list, but it didn't make my list. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll say why in a little bit. But
Okay.
Justice
Actually,
for the
I'll-
fort, man. We need the fort
actually
back.
Actually, I'll say this right now because we're in a good transition for me. My second wave of the season. So what I've done is my first wave is 4 weeks or 4 cities, an off week, so people can get to Vegas. And then my second wave is Vegas, Phoenix, San Diego, LA, San Francisco, and Seattle. Like that's a lot in that small area, you could say. But those next 6 and then an off week and then Champions Cup for me starts right after that.
Have you ever been to the West Coast?
Yes.
That is not a small area that you
I
just
know,
named.
I know. It's
That's what
not.
I was thinking
was-
too. It was like,
I was
so-
covering my no. I was covering my bases by saying that because it sounds like a lot to anyone who's listening. But yeah, that's a giant area. I do.
That's
Well,
like the
it's just
equivalent
such a
of you playing.
juxtaposition of currently there's like 2, maybe 3 events in like that same
Yeah.
area. There would then be like 6,
Yeah.
but
I would like an actual West Coast swing where it's actually like 6 different events going on that, starts in Vegas and goes all the way up to Seattle. So that's what I have. For my Champions Cup, I don't have a specific place that we would be playing at. I didn't get that far into my thought process just yet, but I want it to be Wooded Golf, and as they've chosen Lynchburg possibly as that being something in the future, if we just said Lynchburg was staying, I would be cool with it. Now it would be a freaking hike for those people who are driving, so maybe not, but
Yeah, that's also a tough thing.
that would be a tough one to do. But maybe doing something like Beaver State, like the Beaver State Fling, that Milo MacGyver, that could be like a Champions Cup course. But anyways, I don't really have too much for that one.
What about you, Matt? Anything?
No, I like them all.
Matt's just sleeping.
No, I'm not actually sleeping, but no, I like them all for the most part. I think like when I was looking at, I wrote down like a bunch of stuff, like I mentioned, and like the biggest thing on my list, which I already mentioned, was just make it near an area with a lot of people. Like That's a surefire way. So when Corey goes, here's this, and I know because I'm like, I looked up the cities, I'm like, which ones have the most people around it? What are the, instantly go, hey, I like that. Like, I don't really care where we can make a course great over time, but you can't just magically move 200,000 people into an area. Yeah.
Or like what the Pro Tour is, or what Jeff Spring kind of alluded to, if you give someone a year and a half, 2 years to organize a plot of land and then create your own course, that's totally fine. I think that's totally feasible. I mean, every year we go to these golf courses and stuff like that, they show you can just make up these courses and it'd be totally fine. So I think what they got to do is they need to really find these populated areas, find a team of people that want to market disc golf in those areas, to the point where, hey, the first 2 days of the event is going to be free. The weekend, you're going to have to be paying to get in. I think that's what the Pro Tour should be doing. Thursday, Friday, you go for free.
Yeah.
Obviously, because you have to take a work day if you want to go watch. So why don't you make it free, since people might be losing money if they take off work? And then if you want to go watch on the weekend, then you can charge it on Saturday and Sunday for people to show up. I think that's the best way to grow disc golf, in my opinion. Who knows?
Brixton just said in the chat, what about like a team event that happens 4 to 6 times a year? I would love more than anything for them to do something like that for the All-Star weekend, instead of like throwing into a net and putting. Like, I think it should be like dream MPO team comps, but Anthony Barella can only throw a putter or something. Like, just put weird stipulations and just fun things that people want to see, and like do it that way. Or use the All-Star weekend as a manufacturer's cup. I think that would be really interesting as well. Just have like each manufacturer put in like their best doubles team, and that would be really entertaining.
All-Star weekend has a 9-hole left-handed round.
Exactly. Like just random Mandos on the tee signs of like either offhand, or basically like make it a ripped revenge round, essentially.
Yeah.
Manufacturer's Cup, I like that idea. I think Foundation threw that idea around somewhere. I like that idea. Or maybe we talked about it. Maybe we threw the idea around. I can't remember where it came up.
We're on the Foundation podcast Disc Golf Network, so we are Foundation.
First. We threw it around, and they threw it around at like the exact same start time at the beginning of the year. So right around the same time. Right. Who knows who did it first?
Corey, keep it moving.
All right. So May 30th, another off week. We are going to a Q Series in Denver. Once again, we said Denver doesn't really have the best courses, but they have a lot of land and they have a lot of trees. So we could definitely make a really nice course.
Yep.
Then jumping from there all the way over to Jonesboro, June 5th. There's not really a big reason. These are kind of just the generic places we go every year. I could probably make some more fillers, but we're going to stick with June 5th, Jonesboro, June 12th, DDO, June 19th, Des Moines Challenge, and then June 26th, Preserve. So we're making our way up the Midwest. And then from there, we're going to be going to Europe. And at the same time, we're going to have some Q Series back here. That way, people that can't play are still playing. Yeah, that made sense.
Cross the pond.
Yeah.
I do think, just real quick, somewhere between Denver, like that Q Series, and Jonesboro, obviously like there's not a ton of time, but like all in that same route would be somewhere at like Eagles Crossing, or what's the like really good public course that's in Missouri as well that would be somewhat on the way? Harmony
Bends. Starts with an H. Harmony Bends.
Would be sick.
Okay.
Yeah. The one thing I'll interject too, my next wave after Champions Cup. So we've gone, for me, it's Vegas, Phoenix, San Diego, LA, San Francisco, Seattle. Then we have Champions Cup. Then the third wave for me is Denver, Des Moines, Preserve, and then Toboggan. So we don't go like down and up. We just go like out and up or whatever. We do Toboggan really early, in my opinion. And then that's when we go and we take a week off European major, week off, and then we come back to the States. I don't have anything on my schedule regarding any tournaments in Europe other than European Open. I think they can be their own entity. And if you want to go play in Europe for a month before you go play European Open, we're still going to have these tournaments going on in the States. So
Yeah. And eventually we're going to have like both live on coverage to where you could tune in either or.
I was about to ask about the Q Series events you had popped in here. I like the inclusion of Q Series while everyone else is in Europe, because it incentivizes probably a couple pros to go play those events, and the up and comers to play with them. So I was about to ask about that, but you answered my question before you even got there.
Yep. So
Prepared.
while everyone's flying to Europe, we got July 4th, Milwaukee. I don't even know if we've ever been to Milwaukee.
probably not.
I don't think so.
Probably not. I don't know. And then the first European event is going to be July 10th. Don't know where. Just like Tyler, I'm kind of just putting it out. Europe is July 10th and July 7th or 17th. And then while that is going on, you've got July 11th. So because it's the 3-day instead of the 4-day, starting on a Friday, we've got Chicago and Indianapolis. I think both of those are, once again, why have we not been
To Chicago. I mean, I
Chicago.
guess it's because we have Ledgestone, but
I was thinking about it more still, and like Eagles Crossing being an hour away from St. Louis, which has Gateway and like a huge disc golf scene. Like, I feel like that's another place that needs a Pro Tour stop.
is St. Louis a real big like disc golf community?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, relatively, I would say compared to other, cities of a similar size, like having Gateway there, and like Dave McCormick just designs another course every other week. I feel like up there, they have a lot going on.
So tell us about this International Open, Corey.
So, July 30th, International Open. The reason I want it to be the International Open is because I don't think Europe needs... If we're going to have worlds moving everywhere, I think the International Open should be every 3 years. It's either Europe, Japan, or Australia. And maybe we can add some more in there. I don't know if there's anywhere that... I mean, Brazil would be insane, playing in the jungle. Playing in the mountains of Africa, like South Africa and stuff, like that would be awesome. But as of right now, I only have those 3 because I know there was
Places that have had majors before.
Yeah. There was a major in Japan. There was a major in Australia. Obviously, there's always one in European Open, but now it's International Open, and there's not really any other reason.
I'm cool with that. I think that's a good one. Good twist. I'm cool with it.
Especially knowing that the Beast is probably going away. Like, obviously, there's a ton of incredible courses in Europe, but agreed that, there's other countries out there that have supported majors before that haven't gotten love. And I like it.
Yeah, I like the idea, Corey. Yep. I'm on the train. Choo-choo.
And also, like I said, there's a week before and a week after from every single major.
Yeah.
So that'll give you time. If you're in Europe and you have to go to Australia, you have the time.
Figure it out.
Yep. After that, we've got 8-1 Lincoln, Nebraska.
Lincoln.
That's a Q series, and it's because we've never been there.
Lincoln, Nebraska. My mom was born there.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I went to Nebraska once.
Also, can we make sure that we have our Pro Tour stops along when tornado season is happening? That'd be sick. It starts from like the north and works its way down as the seasons go on.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know if this helps you at all, Corey, but Lincoln, Nebraska is home to Beal Slog Disc Golf Course. It's the 88th best course in the world, according to UDisc. So it's right there in the
Let's go, Nebraska.
The only thing I might say is maybe not Lincoln, maybe like Omaha. But Omaha is kind of close to Kansas City or Kansas City.
I've been to Omaha. It's not as big as you think.
I know. I know.
That's one of those airports that has like 5 terminals, and the security guard was very happy to see me.
Yeah. The only thing in Omaha is like the College World Series. That's it.
Yeah.
And they take
Yep.
pride in that. It's like the
Hey.
one thing that comes out there.
Gotta have something.
So
All right, so moving on, August 14th, Ledgestone, and it's only Northwoods Black.
Let's go.
Only Northwoods.
I like that.
Only
Cool with that.
Northwoods Black. It's the better course. It would be a lot harder. August 21st, Idlewild. August 28th, Deglow. And then from there, we are going to a new place, but on the way, we're going to be hitting up Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's another large city that we've just overlooked.
And they've got good disc golf courses.
Yes, sir.
I will say
good
I don't
disc
know if
golf
we've
courses.
overlooked. Well, I guess in the modern era, but like PDFL with Pittsburgh Flying Disc Open's been a really big tournament for a time.
Yeah.
They've had
We
worlds
did have
there
one
as
there.
well. So
Mhm.
I mean, all that to say, like we know it can support a big disc golf event.
Yeah, I guess I'm just looking at like the most recent.
Oh yeah,
Like
the
last couple
modern
years,
game has
so-
definitely forgotten about Pittsburgh.
So conveniently, I didn't plan this, but
I
on
was about to say
September
something.
11th, on September 11th,
Never forget.
never
Never
forget,
forget.
we are going to be shutting down part of Central Park in the Big Apple for the Central Park Open, and we've got a graphic for that.
Dude, can you imagine? Can you imagine? I would be so hyped for this event for some reason.
And honestly, I think this is one event that I'd be perfectly fine having it free the entire time.
Yeah.
So all 4 days, come watch. New York is gonna freaking riot for disc golf after this. So that's just a little graphic I made for
That's
an
cool.
area of the park that I found a picture of, and
Dude, you have such steady hands when you do that in clip art.
It's true. Very impressive.
yeah, I actually took that photo. So
I don't know. I can't remember if this was strictly Corey's idea, but Corey was like, "Hey, is there anything I'm missing?" I'm like, "Dude, we gotta have like Central Park." And I
no,
was
that's your idea.
Oh,
That's
it
your
was
idea.
mine. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Dude, Corey, we need Central Park, like the tournament there."
That
And he
would
was
be
like,
sick, yeah.
and he's like, "You're right." So I was waiting
Yeah.
to see this.
And
I had-
within 5 minutes, I made this graphic.
yeah.
So.
Well, actually, this is just the picture Corey took. There's no editing.
Yeah, there's
Oh.
no
This is,
editing.
this is just what it looks like.
Tyler
Is that
hasn't
the-
been to
is that
Central
the-
Park in a while.
Is
Is that the Twin Towers in the background?
It is not. That's
Not
actually-
on that date. Not on
that's-
that.
That's actually one giant building.
We'll just call it the Chrysler Building and the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
So I am full on board for this. But I have it later in the season for me. So for me, I have got hold on, let me look at my calendar because I wrote a calendar out too. So I've got us going to sorry, hold on a sec here. So the first major is in the middle of May, and then that would be Champions Cup. Then I have us doing the European Open the first week in July. And then and then when we come back, that's when I have my fourth wave, which is Chicago, Idlewild, Nashville, Atlanta. We have that week off. And then that's when we have the US Open, or so I'm calling it the US Open. And that's in the middle of August. So what I tried to do, and I'll say Worlds, I have Worlds at the end of September. So what I tried to do was I had each major in a pretty like good spacing between each other. So I've got May in the middle of May, at the end of June, at the middle of August, and at the end of September are all the spacing for all the majors to have some better spacing is what I did. So after US Open in the middle of August for me, we would immediately do with it, which is at Winthrop for right now. I had the next set I had was Charlotte, then Philly, then Central Park, and then off, and then Worlds for me. So that's what.
That's a good. I just want to throw out real quick too. Talking about major spacing, that's one thing I kind of glossed over in the recap for next year's actual schedule. But having what will be kind of taking the place of European Open and Worlds at the European Open courses being a week apart, kind of sus.
Week and a half.
Week and a half, yeah.
Yeah, that really does. I saw that and I was immediately like, come on now. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
don't
definitely
know.
get it because you have to cater to the majority
Yeah.
of the players being American and not wanting to spend a ton of time over there, like obviously being expensive for them. But it just, I think the biggest downside of that is the European Disc Golf Festival is going to be like the biggest asterisk Mickey Mouse major of all time.
Yeah, and I know that they were saying like, imagine that is the one major that Calvin wins. Like that would feel really bad for
It's probably how
Calvin.
it'll line up, honestly.
Yeah, that would be really, really sad. So, which
So
they're
after Central Park, we are going to have an off week for Worlds, and in the meantime, we're doing Green Mountain. This is a choice because there's not that many large cities in the Northeast, like up there kind of cities.
Are you
then-
skipping Maple Hill?
No, that's after Worlds.
Oh, MVP Open. I see it. Okay.
Yeah, so September 24th, Worlds. I don't have a location for that because that is going to be a prospected bidding kind of major. I want it to be anywhere
Hey.
and everywhere. What?
That's the same week I put in Worlds too.
Yeah, see?
Hey.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And then after that week, we are going to Rochester, New York for another Q Series.
Suicide City.
And then when we get back from there, MVP Open. That's staying. It's one of the best courses. It's one of the best fan locations and everything. Like, so that's always going to stay. From there, we're going to go to New London, if it's there. We don't know what's going on, so this was created definitely
Creators.
before Paul made the message. So I'm curious what that means. He said the 7 back holes, so I'm assuming the farthest away from the property.
Yeah, it sounds like that they think there's enough land there to where they will still, like, even worst case that they could make another back 9 or back 7 out there, but
Yeah.
I don't know, like just knowing that the land there's like zoned industrial and not parks land at all, like it's just I'm very surprised at like them building and putting in such a like amount of effort into a course there.
Well, I remember hearing videos back in the day where they already knew that.
Yeah, so Hunter talked on Tour Life because the Tour Life episode was actually pretty sick. Just a bunch of pros talking to Brody, like 10, 15 minutes apiece in person. But Hunter said, hey, we always knew this was going to happen. Like this had the possibility of happening, but it was the place and the land we were interested in. It looks like a couple different things are happening with that. That grant could actually be put towards like anywhere that has like the development of that area in like that greater Bedford area. So he said like if they were just like, hey, like check out how many people just came out for Worlds and all, like let's do a petition or something. Let's like see the impact this is having. It could be really easy to push it somewhere else. And also the grant was 1.5 million and they have to match it. So someone else has to get the other 1.5 million for them to even use that. So it looks like, you know, it could happen, but with the only other thing in Lynchburg being like Liberty University, you know, it feels like if they pop a couple petitions up and someone sees like, okay, look at the number of signatures coming in for this course, look at the feedback, look at this weekend. I think that at least is good for the popularity of that.
And timing wise, could not be better. Having Worlds there right now, like when this comes up, is super helpful, I feel like.
Yeah, I do find it kind of funny how they released all this last year and Jeff just came out literally the day before Paul released this information saying that we want to go to Lynchburg for Pro Tour Championship, and then all of a sudden now we don't know what's going to happen. So
Very
Yeah, but
pro-Tour thing to
1.5
have happen,
million,
right?
1.5 million, and you match it. 3 million can't get you anything.
yeah, I was going to say 1.5 million is nothing. Like my company I work for like puts in for like a lot of money for grants to do stuff like land wise. And it's way more than $1.5 million. We're talking like $75 million.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's at least just something that's slightly slowing down the process. But I guess they just feel like they can develop it enough to say, hey, do you guys want to come in and put commercial stuff in here or something? So we'll see.
It's kind of weird that Paul couldn't get Discraft to just put up 1.5 million to like
Right.
That's true.
put something there that's
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know, a pro shop or something, and then just keep the property.
Right. Exactly.
So moving from New London, we're going USDGC.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I just have it at Winthrop. It's such a good area. We've been there. We understand why it's there. There's a lot of parking.
We
There's
played
a
8
lot
holes.
of- yeah, we lost an orange disc there. And
Tough.
yeah, so USDGC, nothing really special. Then we're going to have an off week because that is another major.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go to Indianapolis at the end of September. And then the beginning of November, we are hitting Music City Open in Nashville. I don't know if you guys have been there, but Nashville is still quite a nice time in November. So
Yeah.
we don't have to worry about the weather there. Then we are going to have a week off with, or no, not a week off. We're going to have the Q Series Finals, which is going to go back to Charlotte, and it's going to be played at Nevin. And this is going to be that thing where if you get a certain amount of points in the Q Series, you're invited to play this. And then this is how you can score a tour card for the following year. I think this would be perfect because this is not, well, hopefully this is not the pros that are going to be playing in the DGPT championship.
Right.
So this is kind of the finale for anyone that's lower on the bracket or anyone that's trying to get in. And then the week after that, so November 19th, is Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship in Atlanta. I've been to Atlanta. There's a lot of nice courses there. There's a lot of area that we could build basically an Atlanta disc golf mecca if we really wanted to. How do you guys feel about Atlanta?
I love it.
I have it on my list. I mean, I have us going to Atlanta in the 4th wave, which is before my U.S. Open. So, yeah, I think we got to go to Atlanta.
Yep.
Hot Atlanta, baby.
Yeah, especially for places to go to. Like, you know, I think one of the challenges in like a more year-long schedule is obviously weather and climate. But, you know, starting in Florida and ending in Atlanta makes that very nice. It would be a solid weather-wise Atlanta, you know, November.
Yep.
So for me, I have got Worlds on the same weekend as Corey. I have an off week, and then I've actually got Vermont. So GMC, I think it's still a great place to play disc golf on the tour, so I like it. Then I've got Boston, which is really just Maple Hill, and then I've got DC. I think we got to go to our nation's capital, so I've got DC on there.
Okay.
Then I've got the Tour Championship. And then I've got the off week. And then that's when we're starting to get into like November. And that's for me when I was thinking, I actually prefer if disc golf did the Q school like we do or Q series like we do the Q school for ball golf, which is like a 3-week period of playing tournaments. So the 3 destinations you would do it in are all in like a, you know, closer-ish region. So it would be Charleston, Jacksonville, and Orlando. Or it could be somewhere other than Jacksonville. I just got Jacksonville on there. Don't really know why. But those 3 spots, and then Orlando would be like the finals. So I feel like, you know, you could have a little Disney theme if you wanted to say congratulations, welcome to the tour. So that's just what I have. So all the cities
are pretty close.
All the cities I have, here's my list, right? So I've got Philly, New York City, Phoenix, LA, Houston, Miami, New Orleans, Dallas, Chicago, Atlanta, Boston, Seattle, San Fran, DC, San Diego, Detroit, Denver, not Columbus, Ohio. Sorry, scratch that. But I took because I wanted to keep Idlewild on the list, so I wanted to go to Columbus, but I ended up.
I mean, that's Cincinnati.
It's pretty close, yeah. So Idlewild, then Charlotte, Nashville, and Vegas. So those are my cities. I feel like I'm missing like 1 or 2, but the places that we're still playing on tour would be like like if we go to Seattle, Des Moines, Preserve, Toboggan, Idlewild, GMC, Vermont. Oh, I already said GMC. So, anyways, those are the general ones that I still wanted to have on tour, and that's what I still have. As Corey said, 4-round events, but mine is including majors, except for every tournament will have one course. We'll move the baskets, except for Worlds. Worlds will be 2 courses. 4 rounds, so 2 at each course. One's gonna be heavily wooded, one's gonna be open. I think that style of major has to be for Worlds. I think still, those are generally my thoughts on what I've got.
Now that is the end of my series, but we talked a lot about cities that don't have disc golf courses, or at least not as large of disc golf courses as we want to. So in the meantime, I also created some graphics for some ideas that we don't have for courses and course design. So Taylor, would you like to pull up the first one?
This should be good.
I only have 3, but they're just ideas that I've had for the longest time.
Moguls.
Which one's first?
I'm so excited. Hazard traps.
Hazard traps covering the green.
Yeah.
So we use sand traps as hazards every so often, but I don't think we use it to the full potential.
I agree.
I think putting a basket literally right next to it, or even like inside the sand, to where if you do hit cage and fall, you can add another stroke. But having even a par 3 with a giant sand trap, and you can either land in zone 1, which is outside the circle, but you're throwing kind of a safer shot towards the basket, where if you sail it, you're good. Zone 2 would be preferred, but if you miss, you're going in the sand like almost 9 out of 10 times. Or you just land in the sand, take the stroke, take the par, go on your way. That's something that I don't think we really use, and sand traps look a lot better than just having like stakes in the ground for a hazard area. So that's one thing. If you want to go to the other one, which is
I want to make a comment about that real quick. I don't remember what hole it is, but at Ivy Hills they do have a really cool area where I really liked, where it's OB downhill par 3, and then there's a section on the left-hand side that is a large hazard section. So
the taller grass. Are you talking about the taller grass?
No, it's just that instead of making it OB tight on the left, they made it tight but with hazards. So if you miss left, then you're just in the hazard. Yeah, I agree with you on this. I'm not sure about actually putting sand down as a hazard. I'm okay with having hazard areas that are staked off.
Well, if we want these courses to look beautiful, I mean, I'm talking about these are millions and millions of dollars of courses.
I know. I'm okay with the stakes though, but
like Chuck Norris himself is just donating 1.5 billion to the entire Pro Tour.
Yeah.
And then he's just going to give me a shovel. So this is what we're talking about.
I actually would prefer if we put like a basket next to like waist high, maybe even knee high, but waist high tall grass, and then you have to putt through that, and there's no hazard like stroking. It's just you just have to putt through it. Like I think that's actually like a pretty cool idea, or something that I would like, because everyone hates like the whole like artificial hazards or OB or whatever. So I was like, all right, fine. You have to putt through a tall grass then.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
All right, let's do the second one.
My second one is hidden greens. This one is just an idea of actually manipulating the terrain to your advantage. So having a wooded hole where you don't even see the basket, but it's not as far as you think, but you do need to make it over a specific obstacle and kind of putt back. So this is an
like behind
idea.
a hill. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm thinking the hill itself is almost like a wave on the inside.
Mm.
So it's a cool feature.
Yeah.
And the basket is almost tucked underneath the hill. So think of something like from like The Hobbit or something where where you would see this crazy feature, almost like a wave of grass. And then on the inside, you could put something there, but then the basket is behind it. I just want to see more cool ways of having obstacles. And I think the number one cool way of having obstacles for the Pro Tour is moguls. So I don't know if anybody else was thinking this, but this is what I was talking about. I'm not talking about giant hills. I'm talking about something maybe knee high, maybe waist high, but a bunch of them, to the point where in this picture you have a layup zone. So for this would be a par 5. You'd lay up to before the moguls, throw over the moguls, and then throw up to the green, or you send it and you have the chance for eagle. Now, people that can try and send it might land in the moguls. I don't know if you know how it feels when you're throwing just slightly uphill, but if you have 2 feet that are completely like 3 feet of elevation different from each other, that's going to be really hard.
That's when we start seeing ankle injuries.
Well, it would stop people from running.
Yeah, I mean, they would have to do a standstill.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah.
It kind of forces you. I like it. I'm down with it.
It makes it
Send
harder.
the
I mean,
moguls.
it's almost like an actual sand trap in golf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a sand trap isn't hazard in the sense of like you get another stroke. It's hazard in the sense of you have to kind of manipulate your swing.
Have a different skill set to save it.
I gotta be
Yeah.
honest, I'm not totally excited about the
I don't care.
moguls, but I would love to see
don't care.
how it would impact.
I'm telling you, because think about it. That is something that would not add a stroke to anybody. So it's not the artificial OB, artificial hazard. It would look cool having a fairway just lined with these little bumps. And then obviously it would stop people like James Conrad from running at all.
Yeah. Scott says, why not just make every shot after a tee shot a standstill only? I would be okay with seeing how that plays out. But
I don't like
know.
it.
Almost
Because I'm
like
bad at
the
standstills.
almost like the tee pad is a tee and you can't tee up any other shots in
Right.
golf. So,
Yeah.
no,
Right.
that makes sense. It's just how much are you going to have of a pushback of that compared to just doing some cool grass?
Yeah, I mean Corey's right. You know,
Yeah, I mean, I would be
it
more
exists,
interested in saying having like a fairway hazard where it's not a stroke, but it's a standstill like in this marked area, right? I think that would be a cool idea.
Change the color.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to come to Iron Hill, we have like rock moguls. Like that's the difference.
Oh yeah, they've got rock moguls.
And it goes uphill and downhill.
No, they are interesting.
Yeah, just throw some rocks.
So this
up there,
whole
man.
time you already had moguls, but you didn't
SMH.
say anything.
Yeah, rocks, not grass. Yeah, I mean it's not like constantly all over the course, but there's probably like I would say at least 4 holes where you're going to be stepping on rocks and you got to watch your footing. It's pretty rough, and like 2 of them are on par 5s, so it makes it even harder.
I get that standstill doesn't cost any money, but
Once again,
you got to think about like you're changing the entire rules of which I'm perfectly fine with. I mean, it makes sense. If you're in the middle of the fairway, you should be standing there. But you'd have to pitch it to every single professional and also anybody that's watching and playing like us that's not professional. But
I think you also opt into like, even if you, I think Corey mentioned like make it a different color so it stands still in that zone. I think that's reasonable, but that's still going to cost money. Like I think the just straight up saying, Corey's right, the straight up saying, hey, stand still only off after you're off the tee. that's where you're going to get a lot of frustration. Moguls or even the standstill zone that's spray painted a color or something. I don't know. That at least specifies it in some way. I think that helps out a little bit.
Yeah. But that's all I got for you. Those are all the graphics. That's the map. I hope you enjoyed that. Now we're going to move on to Taylor's trivia section.
I just want to say real quick, is there anything else that, because I know Corey said a lot, I chimed in, Taylor and Matt, is there anything that you want to see on the future of the Pro Tour? Scheduling, places,
I have an idea to
rounds.
pitch. It's not necessarily the schedule, more of just the idea of a Q series. And I talked to Corey about this a little bit, but I'll make it short. I think it would be sick if the Q series was more regional, like really biased towards like the regional pros. You're just like your local 990 to 1020 rated guys. Have that be the same weekend as the Pro Tour Championship, like the Q Series Championship or whatever, but make it like a March Madness bracket, like old Tour Championship style between the regions. So you've got like your Northeast, Northwest, Southeast, Southwest, Central, South, whatever.
That'd be pretty
But just
cool.
have a tournament and say like, all right, the best player, between we played either 9-hole match plays, bracket plays, the best player coming out of the South is this guy going up against like the Northeast guy. I think that would be sick.
That would be sick. I'm down for that.
Mm-hmm. That's sick. I didn't have anything else specifically. When I read through everything, I've already said it like twice. My biggest thing was like, we have to be in cities that are big. That's, you can't expect to get good people out there at DDO because it's like, there's only as many as are there. Compared to, that's why I was like,
out of Emporia, please.
Yeah, that's why I was happy with like Texas State or Open in Austin, only because these are large areas. Like I don't even have any opinion on that course, those courses one way or the other, really. But just big cities, and Corey succeeded with his thing, absolutely. So, yeah,
thanks, man.
Just throwing up on the screen real quick the population of Emporia, Kansas. It's not a lot.
No, I'm perfectly fine with having one like just weird location like Emporia, as long as the infrastructure. Wow, that's like
23,000.
I'm pretty
less
sure
than my county.
Lynchburg is 80,000.
That is so small.
Can you pull up Westland, Michigan?
I'm pretty happy, or I'm pretty content with having those stops as well. I think it's just percentage based of like this percent of our stops are in high populated or high trafficked areas. And then you're okay with having some weird cases. It's just saying, let's try and hit some percentage metric for that.
Yeah. So Wilmington, Delaware, close to where I live, just in Wilmington, Delaware is roughly 71,000 people.
Yeah. I would consider my city not that big, and it's 84.
That's crazy. I mean, you're outside of Detroit, though.
Yes, but...
I would also consider where I live very small, and it's 71,000. So, out of Emporia.
You guys don't even want to know my
Emporia,
numbers.
Emporia is gone.
Matt, you're like one of four people.
We just
that
now
live
got
in
our
the
first
city.
18-hole disc golf course here, and we've got 71,000.
Yeah, that is
22.
crazy, actually.
Anyways, I was just wondering what you guys thought, or what you would want to add one thing. So,
no, I think I made a metric of like everything that should stay and everything that should leave, and like things I don't care about. And I think most of what I said should stay stayed. Most of what I said should leave left, and the stuff I didn't care about one way or the other. So
all I got to add is shout out to Corey for hosting and putting all that together.
Oh yeah,
sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun, and the best part is I still get to do trivia. Taylor,
Start up. Yeah, we got some trivia to end. So we can wrap up. I did some worlds-based trivia. All right, so this is going to be collaborative. This is going to be everybody's on the same team here. And really, we're just trying to get to some answers. So I pulled the top 3, the podium of highest rated rounds at the PDGA World Championships in MPO ever. So what we are trying to decipher here for these rounds is what was the rating, what year was it, where this round was located, and who shot it. So those are the
wow.
categories that we're trying to get for these rounds. So I'll tell you guys when you were right. If we're really off the trail, I'll give you some hints. But that's what we're looking for the podium.
So we're looking for specific rounds of years.
Yeah, so it is a specific round that was shot at Worlds, the top 3 highest rated. So again, we're looking for the rating, what year it was, where it was, and who shot it.
Okay.
2012 Paul Macbeth.
2012 is the highest rated round ever at Worlds, but it was not Paul Macbeth.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Dude,
Does anybody know where Worlds was at in 2012?
No idea.
Okay, so if it's not Paul, I don't think it's Ricky.
Not really.
It's 2012. Who does it have to be then?
Who was alive back then?
I'm gonna let this one simmer for a while,
Me.
at least for the top one, because this one's wild.
It would have to.
So I will tell you. Do you guys want me to tell you where it was or no?
Yeah, I don't think
I
have a
don't.
clue
I
where-
don't think
Tell
that'll
me where
help.
it is.
And
It was
Tyler's
in-
looking up answers right now.
It was
so-
in
I'm
Charlotte.
It was in Miami, Vegas.
It was
it was
in
in
Charlotte,
Charlotte.
North Carolina.
It would have to be an old timer. Would this have to be? I'm throwing out some just old timer names.
I'll say just sling some names out here. Let's see who we got.
We got Doss. We got
Barry
I mean,
Schultz.
Barry Schultz. At some point, we go all the way back. We
David
get to
Feldberg.
Dave Feldberg. Yes, it would have to be one of those.
Climo.
Climo would 2012 be Climo still?
No,
Though
don't
I think like
so.
2007 or 2009 would be the last at Climo. I feel like, but
He won in 09. That's his last
It was
one.
not Climo. I'll give you a hint. Corey. Corey was probably looking up to this guy back in 2012.
I was looking him up.
You were looking up to him.
So he was a discgraph guy, is what we're saying. We would assume.
Matt's got
was-
a brain on him. Matt's got
Was
a
it
brain
the
on him.
zombie?
I think it would have to be Doss then. I'm not saying this is our answer, but
It is
Yeah,
not
I think it would
Doss.
have to be. It was not Doss. I always confuse which year.
Discraft guy? I have no idea, man.
You guys
Also
let me
the-
know when you're out of guesses, and I'll let you know.
Who had the Force? Was that Dawes?
Presnell.
No. Who had the TI that just came out? Was that Dawes?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Doss. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
The TI Buzz is what he's known for.
I know. That's why I was thinking if it wasn't Doss, it was.
I mean, Michael Johansson or Johansson or whatever you need to say his name, he was the one that comes to mind because he's from Charlotte.
He's
It
a
is Michael
Charlotte
Joe.
freak. Yeah.
All right, that's what I
Michael
thought. It had to be
Johansson.
Michael Joe.
Does
That's
anybody
what I
want
thought.
to hazard a guess at what the rating was?
Where did he
10
play?
1090.
Then Charlotte. I don't know what course it was.
Back then? You think it was 1090 back then?
I don't know.
Highest
I'm gonna say
rated
it
round at Worlds
It has
ever.
to be pretty decently. It has to be decently high.
Is this the highest one
Yeah,
ever?
this is number one. Is MJ.
Oh.
Oh, so I'll go 1096.
1097.
1098?
I think
Okay,
it was.
there's-
I think it was
no,
round
there's-
two. Round two of the Charlotte Worlds in 2012. Michael Johansson shot an 11-13 rated round.
I was about to say we are dumb for going as high as 1090, and then you're telling me Buddy shot an 11-13.
This is
What
wild.
was it? And we have to tell you his score? Is that right?
No. The one of the
Okay.
last ones was the rating, but the main one for that one is I was shocked to see Michael Johansson at the top of that list. That's insane. And also, I don't think I can look it back up, but I don't think it ended up being very close when Paul won.
So this dude shot like an 11-13 rated round.
And then he left.
And then he left.
I think it makes sense though. Charlotte wooded course back then. He probably threw.
Yeah,
what is
lost by 12.
Good.
Dude, all right. Dude,
But this is
he-
also, to be fair, 6 rounds, a semifinal, or so 7
Yeah,
rounds and a final 9.
Oh.
So
dude, he
there's
comes
a
to
lot
Iron,
of golf.
He comes to Iron Hill and shreds it, dude. He's a legend.
Notable names back in 2012 Worlds. Ricky in second, Will in third, Kale LaVisca in fifth, Seppo in sixth.
I didn't think about Seppo. Yeah. I was
Matty
thinking about
O
him
in
for a
ninth.
minute. Matty O. Yeah, Matty O's there.
All right, so we got second and third here for the highest rated rounds at the World Championships ever.
Could you I would prefer if you gave us the round rating and then we could try to figure it out, but I guess that takes away from your fun.
So whatever you guys prefer.
That's so interesting that you want the round rating over the year. I feel like
I was say I'm not sure what the round rating would really
What
get
is
you
the-
for.
bro,
Or
this
maybe
guy,
the name.
this guy just shot an 11-13 rated round in 2012 in a random
Okay.
Wood Charlie course. That means
Okay, let me ask you this, Taylor. Is one of these two within the last 5 years?
Both of them.
And they're in the last 5
Yeah,
years.
Yes.
Okay. I remember Tristan Tanner's first round was really good at DDO.
Oh, that was a really good round. He is not on the list though.
Oh, man. So it's higher than him. He shot like 1078 or something like that, didn't he?
I don't know.
it was high. I actually just recently heard about that. I don't remember where though. Okay, so in the last 5 years, 2020,
Top
2020 there
off.
was COVID. Worlds last year was. Why am I tripping on where Worlds was last year?
Worlds was at GMC last year.
Right.
Like everyone has forgotten that Worlds is crazy.
I
Yeah,
didn't
I don't
watch
know
much of
why.
it. I will say, since you said it, one of the third round on here is at that Worlds last year at one of those two
Third
courses.
round.
Okay.
That was at Brewster then. Hmm.
Hmm. I thought someone really weird had a really high rated round, but I don't think that was there at Worlds.
Matteo.
It's not Matteo.
You know what? I took a picture and I talked to him and I said, dude, your round was phenomenal.
Buddy remembers everything but his name.
Because I went to the third and
If
fourth.
only I knew the round rating.
No.
This would always help me out.
No, I'm trying to think if it's actually him or not. Because he played really well.
I will say the rest of these are not obscure pros. So you know these people.
Okay.
These are
So I took a picture with Lowry Lettinen last year, fourth round, and we chatted. And I remember like wanting to take a picture with him because he just played really well. But I don't know if he
is not Lowry Lettinen.
Oh.
Is it Paul Macbeth?
Not
Paul
in
Macbeth
20
is not on this list.
Is it Rick
Not-
Iwasaki?
Not for this round. Rick is on the list though. I'll give you that much.
All right, we have a metric now.
So was
Um,
he on the list?
Okay. So is
But
this is this typically a guy that can pop off?
I would say so.
Okay. So who do we say? It's not Paul. It's not who else? Rick.
not Ricky.
And it's last year, right?
When did James Conrad have that like stupidly high rated round last year?
No, that was not during Worlds. He played poop at Worlds.
Yeah, I didn't remember. That's
Simon played pretty decent, but I don't remember him having like an amazing round.
Not Simon.
Oh, you know what?
Tyler's gonna
Eagles-
bank it right here.
I got Eagle's signature after the third round, and he played so bad, and his smile in my photo is so fake. And then he went out and like ridiculously played really well. I think it's Eagle.
It is indeed Eagle McMahon.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so 2023 Eagle McMahon. Is
Let me guess the
anybody-
rating.
Yeah, does anyone to guess the rating?
Okay, so 11, 13. Which one is this? Second or third?
second.
This is
Right?
third.
This is third.
yeah.
Best round. I'm gonna go 1095.
I think they all might be in 11s.
I think it's very rare.
1099.
I'll go all the way into 11. I'll just go 11 even.
Tyler's on it. It's 1095 on the dot.
Random guess.
Holy, bro! Last time he had a random guess, it was just on the other monitor. He had all the details he needed.
All right, so I will say, Matt
Matt
said Rick earlier. There is a tie at second. So Rick and Eagle. It is at the same year, same event. Rick and Eagle tied for the second podium spot.
Last year,
1104.
No, not last year. So last year was the 3 spot, but it was the same year that
1105.
these two occurred. And it's not
1106.
1105.
So wait, you're telling me that Eagle has the second and third best? Wow.
1098.
Oh, Corey went the wrong way.
Oh, holy crap. 1010.
10-10? What are you talking about?
I mean,
1110. Jesus.
All right, so let me find the year. So I'm trying to think what was
I'll tell you,
tournament.
Corey was one away from the rating, but you guys got to get the year that this one happened. I will say Rick's round is very memorable to me, at least, at this year of Worlds.
Okay, so that was the year that he came back and did that craziness, I guess. Well, you said both of these are within the last 5 years.
He wasn't wearing pants.
So it had to have been from 2019 to now then. Or 2018, we'll say. So it's been at Ogden, DDO, Green Mountain, and I don't know where 2019 was. Was that Eureka? Ledgestone?
Yep. So it was 2019 at Eureka. Rick shot 1107 the last round.
Wow.
To come back to 1 on Paul there. But honestly, don't remember Eagle shooting that well then, or Eagle shooting that well at Smugs. But I thought that was also pretty crazy that Eagles got 2 of the, I guess, tied for top 3 rounds in the World Championships ever. But everybody's chasing Michael Joe, man, the 1113 from 2012. That absolutely blew my mind.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
Wild.
Let's see what people did today. Like, what was the best rated today?
I was literally just
AB
looking
was
at that,
1072 at 11 down. AB and Isaac.
Yeah, 1072. What do they got to pop a 14 down?
I would say that's a big
down,
number at New London,
16
man.
down.
Of course, did you say Michael Johansson did that at?
It was in Charlotte. I can figure out what place it was.
Well, right now the spacing is 6 points per stroke at New London. So that would be like I don't know, what's 30, 40? Oh boy.
Yeah,
it would have to be 43 to beat it. 43 points. So 43 divided by 6 make it 7. So they would have to shoot 18 down at New London.
It was round 2 in 2012 where they played Hornet's Nest and Renaissance. Let's see where round 2 was.
Didn't they play that one course that we met you at? Right?
I don't think that one made a Pro Tour stop, unfortunately.
I don't know why.
Pretty fun.
It was a blast.
Which one?
That one that we met Taylor at.
Plantation Ruins.
Yeah,
That was a fun course, man.
That place was awesome.
Wait, was there a C tier that morning? Is that why we didn't go play
B
that?
tier.
Yeah,
Was that
B tier.
B
there's
tier
a
that morning?
tournament there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And one at Winthrop? Gosh dang.
Yeah. And a bunch of Christian kids throwing a cone in the air.
Traffic cone, yeah.
Where was the specification they were Christian?
You could tell.
They just said
You
God
know.
bless afterward.
You know. I can't figure out
Behind
which
me,
course it was
Satan.
at. It was either at Nevin or Renaissance. But it was
I mean, if it was at Nevin, that's
a 41 somewhere.
I really would love
Beat
to
Paul
know.
by 7 that round.
Can you look up this stuff on Statmando?
Yeah,
Like,
that's where I
what's-
got it from.
Okay. Where did you did you look up StatZone? Is that what it was?
Yeah, it's all-time best round ratings, MPO.
Time best round ratings FPO is what I want to know. And then yes.
Yeah,
I'm trying to look at
Paul
majors.
doesn't
Okay.
Paul doesn't show up here until USDGC in 2014 at 9th in the MPO list.
Dang,
If
Shroud.
anyone's looking this up, don't do it. But like, who do you think has the best rated FPO round in a major. And I'll give you a hint. It was during 2012 World Championships as well.
Own.
Give me Paige.
Katrina?
Katrina.
I'll say it's either Paige or Cat.
1058.
Oh,
And then after that, the next best is Haley King in 21 at the U.S. Women's United States Women's Disc Golf Championship. 1044 in 2021.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then Kristen Tatara got this year at European Open. She shot a 1040 rated round. Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. You know what else is crazy? We're still doing the podcast.
Oh, wait, we
So,
are? That's
we're gonna
crazy.
end it. We're gonna end it here. If
Shout
you
out.
feel like buying anything disc golf related, go to foundationdiscgolf.com. Use their app. Go to their store. It's probably the perfect time to go down there because
our affiliate
everything's
code
happening in
that Matt set
Lynchburg.
up.
Yeah, or use our affiliate link to help us out and let them know that people are coming from us.
Actually, this is the best thing. Go down to their physical store and then just
There it is.
spell out the code. Just letter by letter. Stare at the guy in his eyes.
BROD10.
Or call me and I will read out the whole link over. If you call me, put me on speaker, I'll just sit here and read out the whole link for you.
Yep.
But anyway works.
Yeah, this was a very long podcast, but I think it was worth it. This was a lot of fun. This was different than what we usually do, and I hope you enjoyed it. Outside of that, hope you have a lovely night because it is pretty late, and we'll catch you next week. Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.